Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Sivadas Madhavan, Associate Professor of English and Research Guide in Wolaita Sodo University, Ethiopia. Today I'm going to talk about research paradigms. When we talk about research paradigms, some people may not understand what are these research paradigms. Actually, what we mean by paradigms is the model, the pattern, or the style, or the world view that people follow in conducting research. And it is just like a pattern. And when we talk about the research patterns, people may not understand what are these patterns. A very good example to cite is letter writing. When we teach letter writing, or when we learn letter writing, there are no rules. But some teachers and some textbooks follow certain patterns. That means some traditional ways of writing letters. For example, you write the place and date on the top of the letter on the right hand side. You can write it anywhere, but the most common practice is writing it at the top on the right hand side. And if it is an official letter, you will first write your name and address on the right hand side at the top, and below that, left hand side, you will write the address of the receiver, and below that you start writing the letter. That is one way, but that is not the only way. These days people follow the word processor using computer. You can do it in an easy way. You can have a letterhead, just like preparing a letterhead of a company. You can make your own letterhead on the top with your name, address, telephone number, and all the such required information on the top. Below that, on the right hand side, you can put the date. Just below that, in the middle, you can write the receiver's address, and below that you will start writing. That's possible. Or you can write the old conventional system of writing from your name and address, and below that, left hand side, the same left hand side, to the address of the receiver, and below that, sir, and below that you will start writing the letter. So that's also another way. So all these are accepted. All these are accepted patterns of letter writing. If you don't write like that, what happens? If you put the date in the middle of the letter, it will look awkward. There is nothing wrong with that. You can do that. People will come to know you wrote the letter on that date. But the person who sees the date in the middle of the letter will think that, oh, what a clumsy way of writing. He will not accept it. He will say, the person who wrote the letter doesn't know the ABC of writing the letter. So to convince the people that you follow all the manners or all the traditions, you follow the accepted pattern. So in the same way, in research also, there are certain patterns, the world view. Or we can say paradigm is the common belief and arguments shared by the scholars, the research scholars. Or paradigms show how the problems are solved or addressed by the common researchers. So the agreement and the sharing of the idea among the research scholars, that is paradigm. Or you can say paradigm is the parametric dimensions of research philosophy. So the parametric dimensions, you can, using the parameters set by the scholars, you can decide the dimensions of research. So when we come to know the different types of paradigms, it will be clear to you. According to Creswell, there are 4 different types of paradigms. That means there are different schools of paradigms. Creswell in 2003 says there are 4 types. First one is positivism, and later positivism is denied by the same type of scientific people, saying that we have to follow post-positivism. So positivism was changed into post-positivism later. So what is positivism? Positivism is the technique of applying the scientific rules in social sciences. They say that research must be scientific. So the scientific rules must be applied in social sciences. For example, it must be systematic, scientific. If you cite an example, if A, then B. If A comes, then B, not C or D. After A, it must be B. There is a very interesting joke about it, to talk about this positivist theory. One day, Umberto Eco, the well-known writer and one of the exponents of postmodernism, was participating in a seminar, and he wanted to go to washroom. And he doesn't have much time to spend there because the program is going on in the hall, and he came out, and just before the toilet, so many people were there, and they were all in queue. So he wanted to go very early, so he tried to enter through the door, and a person who was in the queue just pushed his sleeve back and told him, if you want to pee, then queue. That means first queue and then pee. So as a joke, this is quoted among the scholars. So if you want to pee, then queue. You have to be in the queue before you get into the toilet and pee. That's it. So if A, then B, that is a rule. So this type of scientific rule must be applied in social science also. That is the theory of positivists. That is, positivists want, and this is completely quantitative. Quantitative research must follow the positive paradigm. But later, people began to think again and started revising it, and they said every theory is revisable. That means every theory is looked at through a theoretical lens, and that theoretical lens can be changed. So no world is absolutely real all the time. It may change. So that means post-positivists say that you have to test the theories again and again. So once tested and proved the theory doesn't mean that it will not change. So they say that it must go on. So reality is modulated or mediated by the theoretical lens. That is what post-positivists say. So people follow positivism and post-positivism. These two come together in the sense that the scientific rules are applied. And next comes the second one, that is interpretivism. Interpretivism is for the qualitative research. Qualitative research looks into the ideas, views, etc. And these ideas and views taken as data will be interpreted. Interpretivism means constructivism. They are constructing. After considering the rules and views of people, they reinterpret and construct the ideas. That is constructivism, social constructivism. That is another paradigm. And the third one is advocacy or participatory. So when you evaluate or when you discuss the data, you can become an advocate of the poor. Or you participate, you become a participant of the people for whom you are arguing. That is advocacy or participatory. That is the leftist way of interpreting the ideas or interpreting the data. That is the third one. And the last one, the fourth one, is pragmatism. Pragmatism is suitable for both inductive and deductive methods. That is, pragmatism is suitable for both quantitative research and qualitative research. or it is suitable, it is the method used by the people who do mixed research. So for mixed method of research, pragmatism is used. And pragmatism is solving a problem practically and sensibly. So solving a problem practically and sensibly, that is pragmatism. You will become practical and you will be sensible in dealing with the problem. That is pragmatism. So these are the four paradigms, four research paradigms according to Creswell. And this is what students follow, the research students follow all over the world in writing or doing the research. So this is also, these research paradigms are followed and mentioned in the methodology part to make it scientific, to say clearly that this is a scientific research and to prove that this is done 100% according to the rules and regulations. So a research paper written in accordance with the rules and regulations will have the strict following of the paradigms. One of these will be followed by the researcher. Even if the researcher doesn't know what a paradigm is, if he follows the pattern of other researchers, he will have a pattern. So the research students will have the coursework, or they will study the research methodology, and in that methodology they will learn what is research paradigms. So research paradigms are an inevitable part of research writing or conducting research, and it is divided in accordance with the approach, the research approach. If it is quantitative research, you will use positivism or post-positivism. If it is qualitative research, you will follow interpretivism or constructivism. And if you are ideological, if your research is an ideological review, you will have advocacy or participatory. If you solve the problem asking will this improve, if your question is will this improve that pattern, then it is pragmatism. You are becoming practical and sensible to solve the problem. That is pragmatism, the fourth one. So research questions will be answered. Research questions, what is always for positivist researchers, why is most of the time for interpretive or constructive researchers, how is for advocacy. That means how can I change? How can I change this world? How can I change this situation? That question will be answered by the researchers who follow advocacy or participatory paradigm. And will this improve will be used by pragmatism, the pragmatic research paradigm. So one of these must be used by a research scholar to make the research scientifically and to declare what it is. So when research scholars write this, the research evaluators will be very happy to see that and check. So if a particular research paradigm is mentioned in the methodology part, immediately the examiners will look into the other parts whether it is true or not, and they will find out. That means most of the time the research writing is completely technical. So these technical aspects are to look into a particular problem the researcher deals with. So this paradigm, the world view or the model or this style or this pattern will help the readers of the research, and without this, writing a research will be unscientific, or it will be just a rash way of doing things. And most of the time, these research paradigms are characterized through research philosophy. So research philosophy will give you an idea about the research paradigms. So research philosophy we will discuss in the next video, and this is enough for today. Thank you.